I believe I can fly. Hey, Borderlands fans, this is Metagross Freak, and I have a Borderlands theory today, which is why I'm wearing this mask. In Borderlands 2, I'm not sure about 1 because I haven't played it, but in Borderlands 2, you don't take fall damage when you jump off of high heights. And I think I figured out the reason behind this, and all you need to do is look at the moon. Compared to Earth's moon, the moon in Borderlands looks a lot larger. This would imply that based on the relationship between Earth and our moon compared to Pandora and its moon, Pandora's moon is either significantly closer and or significantly larger. Here's my evidence behind this. Pandora has a very short day-night cycle, unlike in the Pokemon games or many other games that have a day-night cycle. It's often based on real time. Pokemon's a little bit different though because their seasons are funky. That's a different video. In Borderlands, the day-night cycle is actually a lot shorter. It's like 12, 15, 20 minutes. It's kind of weird, which implies that either Pandora is a lot smaller, which means if it goes at the same pace, it revolves, and that it revolves and the day-night cycle is shorter, or that it revolves faster. However, the moon is visible no matter what time of day it is. This would lead me to assume that it probably just has, it's probably just a smaller planet, and so no matter where you are on the planet, you can see it. I'm not going to get into specifics about that. Don't question me on it too much. This isn't hard science. This is kind of, I guess you could call it soft science. However, we've seen in video and preview images for Borderlands the pre-sequel that gravity is so ridiculously low that you can jetpack like 50 feet into the air, and simply by crouching you can increase your density enough that you come crashing down to the ground. This implies that the moon has lower gravity than our moon, which you can only bunny hop jump on. Assuming that the moon has weaker gravity, this would imply that the moon is a lot smaller. However, because the moon looks so big when you're on Pandora, it's either extremely close or Pandora is also a lot smaller than Earth. Interestingly enough, this kind of makes sense in the long run, because if Pandora is smaller and or if the moon is closer, the force of gravity pulling people down isn't as strong. This is why people in Borderlands can easily jump over minivans, or why they can do such things as jump off of cliffs and not get hurt. Obviously, it's not a foolproof strategy. Some things do change. Some things are affected by gravity normally, like grenades, rockets, and bullets, which do have the downward pull from gravity over long distances, though. So, I guess the better question is, what do you think it is? Are they smaller or whatever? I don't know. You decide. However, regarding water, there's not a lot of water seen in Pandora. In fact, in the larger areas with water in Borderlands 2, we can see that the water is either frozen in all the tundra areas, or it flows normally through the highlands. The highlands are the only green area in the Borderlands 2 area that we get to see. And there's a couple large rivers that go down, and it's interesting, you can almost see it. You can see a split. There's this dried up river that goes straight towards the dust, and a dried up dam, and there's a perfectly flowing river that goes straight to opportunity. Considering that both of these come through the highlands and you have to go through tundra, through the fridge, this would imply that either Hyperion has blockaded part of it, or that possibly just it isn't the right kind of geography for water to flow down into the dust. However, water still flows down. It follows the laws of gravity, just it might not be as strong because of the different gravitational forces. Except that we've seen the moon. Based on the footage we've seen of the moon, there's a ton of ice. This could imply that either Pandora used to be part of the Earth, that Pandora's moon used to be part of the planet and then it broke off, similar to our moon, or that because of the relative closeness, maybe the water was siphoned off by gravity. It's kind of a weird concept, but possibly if the gravity was strong enough, water could have been evaporated water in the atmosphere, like in clouds, could have been siphoned off. In fact, if you look at it, the only area in Borderlands 2 that has like rain are Egris, which is a continent in the south, and the Rotgut Distillery. Now, Rotgut Distillery is a little weird. I think it was, and the rain is kind of part of the story, but the only area that we see that has the rain regularly is in the Agrin continent, which is down south more, and so since the moon tends to be like that, it in Egris is like down here, doesn't have as much of that pull. The pull is weaker. But here's the real kicker, and here's what I really love, is I even have proof of why that can work. Hyperion's satellite, the moon base, that floats up in the air, that giant stupid H that shoots missiles and robots at you. It's right in the middle between the moon and you, which means you get something called a spring tide. Now, for people who don't know, a spring tide can be formed if you pretend my head is the Earth. If, say, the sun is here and the moon is here, water is pulled like this, or if it's in a solar eclipse kind of fashion with the sun here and the moon here, both of these pull water. And either way, the tides are higher than normal near the equators, and near the poles, tides are shorter. These are called spring tides. If Hyperion is doing all these mining operations, chances are there's going to be a lot of waste water. If, because they have their satellite, there are multiple spring tides because it's right in front of the stupid moon, tides are going to be higher, which means there might be even more water in that area to evaporate more water in the atmosphere. So possibly a theory of why there's not even water on Pandora that much. That's my theory of gravity and water on Pandora. Until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and stay awesome.